Thank you for joining Beta2Boss today. I'm on the call with Kyle. He's been in the payments business for quite some time. It's rare that I get the opportunity to interview people that have been in my space and understand our concept of residual income.
Beta2Boss with Chase Harmer. Growth, scale, success.
There's a lot of different ways to make it in this business. In the financial fintech industry, I mean, you can make it through gateways, processing, ATMs. I mean, the kiosks, it's limitless. The opportunities are limitless. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to get involved in a business, this is probably the lowest barrier to entry to obviously earn income that can really change your life. And I think it's an exciting chance to talk to somebody that's done it from the ground floor, just like we did. So Kyle, I appreciate you coming on the show, and thanks for being here.
Started from the bottom, now I'm here.
Now we're here. So Kyle, man, you have an interesting story. Being that there's no real prerequisites to come into the payments business, a lot of people start off as agents. They build businesses, and you are no exception to that. I think you started, probably slinging paper and started a company afterwards. So kind of give me the background on you, how you started in this business in particular, to kind of tell people how low the barrier to entry is. I mean, getting into the business, but then building something, obviously, there's a lot required. But how do you get started?
Yeah, I mean, getting started in the payment space, obviously, you need to have a relationship with either a processor, a bank, or an ATM processor, or check cashing software. It depends what it is that you're doing. It's kind of like you said, there's a broad range of different ways to make residual income in the electronic payment processing space.
100%.
There's like you said, ATMs, there's credit card processing, there's high risk, there's traditional, there's domestic, international, there's offshore, there's gateways, there's the authorization process and captures. I mean, there's sponsoring banks, there's getting your own bin.
There's a lot. We know that. I mean, it's kind of an endless line of things that you can possibly get involved with in this business. But let's tell me about your story. So how did you get started and come up to where you are today?
I actually, while in college in Austin, I have a degree in bachelor's in science, business administration, and marketing, and then I got a degree in vascular general and obstetrical and cardiac ultrasound. So I was going to start a mobile imaging company. I always wanted to be in healthcare, but on the business side.
Sure.
So I went and got a degree in ultrasound because that's the most widely used modality. I've been in interventional, radiology clinics where they do ultrasound guided biopsies, vascular screenings, delivering babies. I've kind of worked in every healthcare space. When I graduated, Obama became president. The reimbursement rates dropped on Medicaid and Medicare by about 40 to 60% on imaging.
Ouch.
So that made the lucrativeness of my business model go out the door. So I ended up getting that degree, for no reason, or not no reason. It was a good experience, and now I'm actually kind of applying that to a healthcare technology company. But I couldn't find a job out of college. Had 2 degrees, was in debt with student loans. And somebody approached me, or actually went to an interview for QuickBooks. It was a straight commission gig. You sold QuickBooks software and tried to get their credit card business.
Into it, or?
Yeah, through Intuit.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I went home and I think I had a phone call with my mom or something. And she said, "Oh, how was your day?" I was like, "Oh, I had an interview." And she's like, "Oh, what was it about?" I said, "Well, it was about payment processing." At this time, my parents owned a driving range to hit golf balls. They bought the only driving range in like the whole South Texas, closed down. And so they bought all the equipment from the guy. A school district bought the land and they built a school. And so there's no driving range. And me and my little brother played golf growing up. And so they bought the big piece of land right in the middle of our hometown and built a driving range there. And that paid the note on the property. And then they ended up flipping it like 15 years later. But so she's like, "Oh, you should call this guy Andrew. He has a credit card processing company here in McAllen, and man, Kyle, every time he comes to the driving range, he's wearing a different Rolex. He has a different watch, like a different car." And I'm like, "Okay, well, that sounds good."
I like Rolex cars.
I like Rolexes and nice cars. And so she's like, well, call him up. Just go drop by, and I'm like, all right. So I gave him a call. He's like, come by my office. Yeah, I went in there, and he told me about credit card processing, and he actually did the credit card processing at our driving range.
No, really?
And so,
Okay.
yeah, so I went over there and went, suit up and did my spiel. He did his spiel, and I was like, right now I'm not really looking for a straight commission opportunity. I mean, I got student loans, and I'm trying to get on my feet. I just got out of college. Like,
Sure.
this straight commission isn't probably a good idea for me right now. It's like, no, man, between your family and your brothers and everybody that you guys know, like, I know your family, like, you would kill it. I'm like, well, okay, well, I'll try it while I look for another job, So
Right.
so I tried it, and I made a list of everybody that my family knew and everybody that I could call that owned a business that processed a credit card. And I, went and talked to them and told them, this is what we do. This is that. And so I ended up doing in 30, 40 accounts a month. This guy was taking 50 cents of every dollar I made. No real infrastructure, like just go get statements and bring them to me and we'll sign them up. Is kind of his way to do it.
Sure. That's how I
And so
started
I ended up
agents.
yeah, I ended up making him $1 million because I made $1 million within 2 years. I signed up a ton of accounts. I went after the biggest restaurant chains and car dealerships, and I was going after cities and not your little mom and pop businesses. And so I learned the industry inside and out. I built up a residual making 20, 30 grand a month.
Yep.
I then went to got into ATMs, built up an ATM portfolio. I have over 50 ATMs now. And then I started seeing that a lot of these businesses could use a lot of help that I was working with. Like they either didn't have a marketing department, or they had no website, or they were just opening up and they needed some marketing materials or a brand or something. So that's what evolved into my company now, which is Merchants Resource Group, or mrgbusiness.com. We're a business services company. We focus on primarily retail and hospitality businesses. And I mean, we have clients from Dairy Queens, Denny's, your independent little taco shop on the corner, to multi-location franchises. I mean, professional sports teams. I mean, we got just a broad range of clients. And so I got into first, before I got into the marketing division, I got into hardware software, so point of sale systems, camera systems, and digital menu marketing boards. So that's really MRG's I guess 3 main core divisions is marketing, payment processing, and hardware software. And we got about 3 to 5 different services within each division.
Sure. And for the marketing, you guys are offering marketing for your clients, I guess? Or is that marketing for your own business?
Yeah, so starting, yeah, we have to focus on our internal, projects, and then we have a team that focuses on client work.
Gotcha.
So about 2 years ago, technically we're a startup. I mean, we've been in business going on 4 years, I guess.
Right.
I built the payment processing and the ATM division out. My brother heads that up, Curtis, and then the hardware software division. I partnered with a company on that. We have national dealer licenses with every major software. So Aloha, Micros, Digital Dining. I mean, every major POS.
So you guys are in
brands.
the restaurant business, right?
Restaurant, retail, and hospitality. Restaurants would fall under hospitality.
Okay.
And so we help people with those 3 software and hardware needs: point of sale, digital menu marketing boards, and cameras. Every retail and hospitality business needs that.
Sure.
And then so we do marketing.
Gotcha.
On marketing, I partnered with a guy who's the chief strategy officer and global creative director of Dell for about 14 years. He got tired of the corporate world, started his own virtual agency, and me and him met at a networking event. And he knew that I was a sales engineer, and he was a branding and marketing guy. And so we partnered, and he came on board. And then I partnered with another gentleman who owns a text marketing platform. He's been in text marketing since the T9 flip phone days, before iPhones were even out.
Sure.
Our clients there, like the World Cup, a big for TGI Freaking Fridays program, like those kinds of clients. But I partnered with him, and he's our CMO. So I built out a really solid marketing team,
Mm-hmm.
and we cover all kinds of clients from your startup business
Sure.
to Johnson and Johnson and
Nice. So,
Nestle,
you've been in this business for a minute, right? And you guys have built out some, strategic partnerships and alliances. You guys got your verticals planned out, just like, we kind of do. We're more focused on the travel and e-commerce business. So it's kind of different strategies to tackle the market. But obviously the market's so big. There's a lot of companies out here and there's a lot of agents out here that are tackling these markets. As you see it, there's always an exit strategy. And an exit strategy, I think, is a big part of this business for sure, because the fintech and the financial markets, especially in this particular vertical, it's a very exciting place to be. So it is the place to be. As far as exit strategy, what is your exit strategy? What do you think the future of payment processing is going to be? I mean, I see a lot of the big companies, like the Amazons of the world. They're coming in. They're adding, basically a punch in the face to the payments business. And there's a lot of other guys.
Braintree with PayPal
They're changing the way the business is done. But what do you feel like with all these big players coming into the market? And there's always going to be a need for ISOs and agencies like ours. But what do you feel like what do you feel like it works?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why I built Merchants Resource Group, is because it is a very saturated industry. It's almost a commodity. It's very price driven. You have to have
offer these other things, right?
Yeah, you have to have a value prop, or else you're just going to be the other guy in the corner doing the same shit.
Absolutely.
Like my French, man, same stuff. But my thing is, you have to build value. You have to be innovative. You have to build IP and technology around something to set yourself apart.
Totally.
And so we got into franchise development over about the past 2 years. Have a whole legal team where we go into concepts that are doing very well, that have a good concept, family owned, operated, 1 to 10 locations. Are really good operators. They're good at what they do. They have good top line revenue. We then go into their business. We partner with them. We fund their company. We write their operating manuals.
What do you mean when you fund their company? What do you mean?
We fund their company to help them franchise.
Okay, so basically, are you guys doing like the merchant advance loans, or what are you guys doing?
No. So think of what city do you live in? Santa Cruz?
We live in Los Gatos.
Las Gatos. Okay. What's the best restaurant there that's an independently, privately owned restaurant?
Like Forbes Mill is pretty good, right? It's right.
Okay. Do you think it's a franchisable concept?
Totally.
Okay. So that client, you set me an appointment with them. I get on a call. I get my legal team. We say, look, man, we know your business. We've studied it. We love your concept. You're killing it. Let's go sell 100 units. Let's open 100 locations on the West Coast. Well, he's going to be like, how the fuck do I do that? To franchise, it's going to cost me $100,000 just for legal. We're here. We're your partners. So we go into his business. We literally have somebody work there for a month. They write their operating and training manuals. If it's a restaurant, we get their ingredients down to the freaking ounce. And we make it like it's a Chipotle. It's like, so it's everything's process documented. Everything's tracked by software. I have software that'll tap into Benny Keith and Cisco, and it'll track everything that the franchisees are ordering. And then in their operating and training manuals, we make the franchisees use our point of sale system. They use our marketing. They use our print. They use our merchant services. They use everything, because we need total control and we need total transparency for the franchisor.
I like this.
So if they want to fart. Okay. So then, this has been my brainchild.
I like
so
it.
Then what we do, we do all that. We write their franchise disclosure documents that make all of this legal, and then we help them sell their franchises. We go to all the franchise trade shows. We market it.
Okay, so you market it. So essentially, by doing all this, right? So let's say that I'm like, hey, listen, Kyle, I really like this concept. I got a lot of clients that we can probably do business with. And I'm like, so how do I sandwich myself into that deal as an agent? You're an agent. Okay. What do you?
So we have a commission structure. If you bring a deal like that to us, we literally partner. We do profit sharing.
So how do you guys do? But so what's the concept for and not just for me or an ISO, right? But essentially the restaurant, right? So the restaurant's like, look, okay, let's say that I believe you can do this. Okay. So how does this work? I mean, you guys recruit the actual franchisees, you bring them
Hmm.
to the table, they're putting up, let's say, $100,000 to do
Or
this.
they come to us because we go to these restaurant trade shows where all the restaurateurs go to see all the new shit that's out, and we have a booth there, and we're like, "Is your concept franchisable? Want to sell 100 locations? We're your partner."
Right.
You know,
How
like, and
many,
so
how
we do.
many, how many guys do you guys have under this model today that you're actually working with?
So I just did a JV with. So let me, I guess, take 2 steps forward, and then I'll take 2 steps back. So I said, damn, like I got ATM unlock, I got credit card processing unlock. My cost is 2 cents authorization and capture. I'm with TSYS First Data and Chase Payment Tech. Like, I mean, this is what bankrolled everything around Merchants Resource Group and all the other startups like On It and things that I've invested in. And so I'm like, why don't I build my own franchise? So I took the payments division of Merchants Resource Group, which is credit card processing and ATMs, and I made it into a franchise, aspirepayments.co.co. And so now I partnered, now we have some disruptable technology that we'll dive into here in a minute. But what was your last question?
Well,
How's there an opportunity for an agent or
well,
a
I guess
partner?
the question was, I mean, how many restaurants and chains do you guys actually have that are participating
So
in?
so we have over 100 clients that have done this.
Okay.
I
And
have
like,
a
each
whole
client,
franchise legal firm,
does each
and I have,
client do like a certain amount? Are they required to do a certain amount, or are you pushing for a certain amount? So like when a guy says, "Hey, listen, I'm really interested in doing this franchise deal," right? So do I mean, what are the expectations? I mean, how long does it take you to roll out X amount of locations? I mean, what are the expectations realistically?
it depends on the concept. I mean, we don't just do this with anybody. We want to have a successful track record. So we're going
Right.
to do a market analysis. We're going to do a lot of different stuff. I
Okay.
mean, a concept in your hometown might not work in Austin, Texas.
Totally.
You know,
So
you
you guys
know,
take it. So it could. So really, Lee, you're working with the. When you talk
yeah,
about the
like
franchise, you're talking about nationwide, right? Like you're
exactly.
picking
We're
out like
like
locations
with my
all over the world.
payments franchise. I mean, I just launched it 4 months ago. We've already sold 5 franchises. I just got back from a trade show in New York. A guy literally walked up to my trade show booth and he's like, "I'll give you $5 million to buy the franchise rights for Florida." I was like, I'll take your $5 million, but we can do a lot more with that $5 million through my mergers and acquisitions play with Aspire Payments. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll tap into my payments kiosk here in a minute. But I did a joint venture to do all this. I mean, I didn't build it from scratch. I have a company that actually helped me franchise out my business. Uh, they have 22 employees. They're like in 9 states across all time zones. And this guy has an MBA that owns a company. He's going to be the president of Merchants Resource Group real soon. He's the interim president now. But that's what I do. I mean, I build up companies. I'm a visionary, but I'm also a realist. So I build up companies for 6 months to a year that are around a vision that is a solution for something. There has to be a problem and a solution. How many businesses fail that start up?
A lot.
Like 90% of them.
Majority of them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a problem there. People are starting businesses and they're not successful. So that's what we do. So that's how we started out, is helping small businesses, but those people don't have budgets to pay people. I wouldn't make my payroll if I work with people that just file their tax ID all day long. Now we're going after big clients where they need at least a $10,000 or $20,000 retainer for 6 months, or we can't engage with you. It's not, you're going to, it doesn't make sense economically. So I started out really helping a lot of small businesses, and we still do. But it goes through a whole different channel or team,
Right.
and that's not our main focus.
Gotcha. Well, I love the concept. I think it's pretty brilliant. Definitely innovative and different. There's nobody else doing that, so I love it. I'd love to talk to you more about that offline as well. One of the things that
That's a good thing when the guy you're doing a podcast with has been in the payment space. Like, might want to do business.
well, I'm all
To all
I'm
your
all
listeners
about.
out there, that should speak volumes.
That's cool, man. I really love the concept. I mean, so I'm all about building, making yourself unique and having differentiators, right? And that's why we've been so successful, because we built out a platform that's very, very compelling for large travel merchants and large e-commerce merchants. You guys are more on the retail side, but this is actually, I really like it. So I really like that idea, and I think that makes retail attractive. You know what also, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, the reverse my fee cash discount program. What are your thoughts on that? Because that kind
For
of
the
makes,
reverse cash, where they,
yeah, I mean,
I mean,
it kind of makes to me, it
I
makes
did a
like
test.
retail like
I
sexy.
went my,
Huh?
yeah, I went myself and talked to 50 people about
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
they're like, if I do that to my customer, like,
I don't
it's
know about
gonna,
if it worked. It wouldn't really work with restaurants, I think, but like convenience stores and C stores, and like there's certain merchant types that I think small ticket merchants would work really well with, but restaurants and hospitality probably not a great fit.
it's hard because you have to add the tip where the restaurant and hospitality, you have to add the tip into the amount. They literally have to do it by hand.
Yeah, that's
That'd
not
be
good.
something to build where it automatically does it for them.
Right.
But the main thing I'm building now is Aspire Payments. Like, I'm
Yeah.
very passionate about helping people. Like, I franchised out, the payment processing division with our credit card processing. I mean, we have a whole back office. We do marketing for 6 months. The franchise fee is 25 grand, but we do marketing. We reinvest $5,000 of it back into your business in SEO, pay per click. We build you a custom website. We get you, on all these different directories. We really do a good job at building your business for 6 months of processing ATMs and these payment kiosks that I'm going to talk about here in a second.
Sure.
But we have a really cool back office that there's all kinds of videos and training videos and certifications, and the payroll's integrated into it. Has DocuSign integrated into it. As soon as you sign an account, you make $150. As soon as the account processes one transaction, you get another $299. So you literally make like $450 every time you sign an account. And then you get good residuals. We give them 60% of the net profits, and our cost is 2.5 cents. So it's like, I mean, 60% is a nice chunk. We even will buy out the contract up to $350. So if the merchant's in a contract, we'll buy them out up to $350, and we will guarantee the merchant $1,000 that will reduce their cost to process credit cards. We guarantee them $1,000. So like, you go into a business, they're already
Right.
processing. You're like, look, man, I know you got a good deal or whatever. We're not really in this for as a profit center. Like, we're an ATM and a payment kiosk company. Let me show you how much your guy's overcharging you. Give me your statement. You take a picture of the statement, snapshot, send it to Paul, our sales director. Within 5 minutes, you have a side-by-side comparison breaking down a monthly, annual, and a 3-year savings of how much that guy's overpaying. And then, I mean, so it's an easy sell. It is a competitive industry, but with our value prop and everything else that we do to help these businesses, it just makes sense for them. With the ATMs, we sell ATMs for $2,500. I finance them 0% interest over 3 months. So I break it up into 3 payments. We have a national armored car company. We have cash service. So if people don't have the money to put into the ATMs, we can finance that for you at $1 per transaction. So it covers everything from maintenance, the cash logistics, monitoring the armored car going to the bank, into the ATM and filling the machine.
Yeah.
It covers insurance. It covers the cash. And then our kiosks is just going to totally disrupt the bill pay and check cashing space.
Okay.
So we have a kiosk that looks basically like a red box.
Uh-huh.
It's about a third of the size, and you can walk up to this. You can cash a check under $1,000 or under $1,500. You can insert the cash into the machine. It'll spit out a prepaid Visa card with my logo on it. You can pay in the country.
What
Add
gateway are
minutes, any
you guys?
cell phone provider.
Are you guys working
I'm
with your
sorry.
own gateway on this?
Yeah.
Is the gateway backend, is that your own gateway?
We have our own gateway and our own check cashing software.
Okay. Cool.
So then we do. We can pay any or add minutes to any cell phone provider in 139 countries. We can do wire transfers to 139 countries, buy or sell gift cards from the top 200 retailers, buy 2 different cryptocurrencies, and then there's a
Which
digital
ones?
Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash.
Okay.
And then we're about to open up Litecoin, and a couple others.
Okay.
And then you can do. We're doing a bidding war with StubHub and Ticketmaster right now to do all kinds of ticket sales. And then there's a 27-inch monitor on the top. It does digital advertising and mobile marketing. So we have 20 units out in the field. We finance the equipment. So if something You know, people don't, the machines cost 15 grand. They're making on the low end 7 to 800, and on the high end 23 to 2,500 a month. So you usually can break even within the first year.
Yeah.
These are for unbanked and underbanked people that
Sure.
don't have bank accounts. So there's 38% of the population in the U.S. is underbanked, and there's over over 50 million people. And Chase and Bank of America and Wells Fargo, they're turning away about 10 people a month for money in a checking account.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of our flagship product for Aspire Payments.
Sure.
We built this into a franchise, so we sell franchises in all 50 states, and we can even finance the franchise fee if needed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's my baby. That's something I've been really building for a couple of years, and we're now in the market, and we've sold over 5 franchises, and going on 4 months strong.
Well, that's awesome, man. There's a lot of things going on, and it's so easy to get carried away, right? So like, and even when we're building out stuff over here, just like you guys, it's like, ooh, what about that? Oh yeah, we need this, right? So it's like everything is constantly in beta, right? Like you're just constantly building stuff, and it like never fucking stops, because even though like it's not necessarily the grass is greener, but there's definitely just things you see that you need to add into it as you keep going. So same type of stuff here. One of the things that, just because we're a lot like you guys in that we focus on building our IP. I mean, we have 20 engineers on our team, and basically that's where the bulk of our payroll is on our engineering staff, which ultimately rightfully so, right? But, and a lot of times I get carried away because I'm like, do this, do that, do this. But this is why you have project managers. So they're like, hey, slow your roll. Like, you can't do everything at once. How important is it to focus on one project at a time? How important is it to focus on, like concerted efforts to really streamline that focus?
Man, it is very, and when you're like me and you, and you're kind of at the forefront of everything, trying to pioneer it, it's very easy to get deer in the headlights syndrome, where you see something, you're like, and you just like, and you want to go like do everything,
I need that.
but you need to stick to your plan, and that's like like the foundation of everything. You have to start with a plan, and if you don't have milestones that are major milestones in that plan, and you don't have like a weekly recap on what those milestones are, and on your plan, it doesn't need to be like a 5-year business plan. It's like, if you're starting a business, don't even do a 5-year business plan. Like that's for the finance team to do financial models around. Like there is no 5-year business plan. Like
seriously, it changes so much between
it changes so much. You need like a 30-day business plan, and then like a quarterly business plan.
Totally.
Like,
I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, because things are going to change. People are going to leave, expenses are going to come up that you can't cover. And if you're bootstrapping it and you're not going out and getting, pre-revenue money, like, and you want to, have control and get a lot of the ownership of this, and then you're going to have to fucking work your ass off. Like, I hate to tell you, but I mean, it ain't no fucking 8 to 5,
No.
And it's like I put in, I mean, shit, I don't have work hours.
No,
Like,
there are no work hours. And you got to just be ready. There's no, like, it's a lonely existence because of the fact that you're constantly working, and you just got to be ready to, you don't need, there's nobody that you got to tell. Like, it's all about you and building that business, right? It's not about recognition, about how much hours you put in. It's about you going in there and getting the shit done and doing what it takes to get there. And that really, in reality, is like, 10 to 14-hour days, and that's just the reality.
If that.
Yeah, I mean, there's days obviously you put in more, but that's like a regular, if you average it out, right?
Yeah, you do have to kind of have a work-life balance too. I mean, I want you to check out On It. I'm surprised you haven't heard the company. Joe Rogan owns part of it. Like,
okay,
I was very fortunate to be part of it very early on, and I own some shares. But we're I mean, it's 5 years old, already valued over 100 million. I mean, we're doing some 12 to 15 million a month on e-commerce.
What is it about?
It's a health, fitness, and supplement company, and we own a yoga company. We own a jiu-jitsu company. There's we started an apparel line. It's ONNIT.
Oh, and
Uh,
MNT.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll
on
check
it.
it out for sure.
Uh,
The work-life balance is tough, because there's so much work, and then you come home and you got kids. I don't know if you got kids, but kids and girlfriend and all that stuff. So it's hard to you make it all work, right? And then of course,
yeah, when I say work-life balance, I mean you have to make some time for you. Whether it's just like going and running and leaving your phone at home. Like I get like I can't even. I date girls for a while. They're cool with me working. They like going traveling and stuff or whatever. But then, like when we start dating serious, they're like,
when
"You're
it
always
starts
working.
getting
You're
real,
always on your phone. You're always." I'm like, "Well, I mean, I told you it's not going to change until I'm 40.
yeah,
It's going to
if
be
that.
until I'm 40 years old. That's when
So
I'll not
I
work."
told my girlfriend, I was like, listen, once I sell my company, then like things will go back to normal.
Yeah, but, but but I'm just like,
She's like,
when I
once you
say
sell your company.
you have to get your mind off the prize,
Yeah.
because if not, you, there is. I mean, people do burn out. I've burned out before. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like I've burned
Yeah.
myself out, and you have to really like think logically, think realistically, and make realistic goals.
Right.
Because if you don't, you're gonna feel like you're working, you're never accomplishing.
You're
That's why
not,
it's
you're
so
like you
important.
feel like you're on a treadmill, right? Because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like working so much hard and you're building all these products, but you feel like you're not getting anywhere. It's just like
Dude,
standing still,
dude.
man. It's really easy to fucking give up, man, because you're doing this
Right. I've
fuck,
given up. I've
clients
given
are
up like
pissed.
100
Like,
times.
yeah,
I've given up 100 times, but then I guess I didn't give up because I'm still doing it. You
yeah,
know.
no. Well, the thing is, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, a lot of investment, and just, getting it done. But and it's easy to get burnt out for sure because it's hard. The wins come, but when the wins come, it's very gratifying. So, and as you progress as an entrepreneur, um, luck starts to happen as well. So people say you got lucky. Well, you're there on the treadmill all day long, so the luck does eventually happen.
How many miles have you run on a treadmill? Let's compare.
Like, yeah, so far, like so many miles. Well, listen, man. You guys are based in, where are you based in? You're based in where?
We're based in Houston, Austin, and then South Texas.
Okay.
Those are kind of
Well,
our home base. And San Antonio. I mean, we have offices in Dallas. So we have
we have an
offices in
office in
every major
Austin
city.
as well.
Okay.
Next time that I'm out there, I'm gonna hit you up, Kyle. We'll go hang out.
Yeah. Just make
It,
sure and try and give me like a week heads up, because I can move anything around, and I work from anywhere that I have my phone and a computer and some internet.
yeah, totally.
So yeah, I'm totally flexible, and would love to get to meet you in person. I'd like to also circle back around before then and kind of lay things out a little more detail, and I'd like to learn more about your company.
Yeah.
There's a travel company that I'm part of. I helped them build some software, and one of my good friends is actually one of the co-founders of it.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean, they have look up World Ventures.
Well,
They
ventures.
have millions of members, or tens of millions of members,
Well,
and they have a problem with processing. Like they're with Woodforce Bank right now. They have probably 6 or 8 different processes to insulate the risk from, because they don't have a huge amount of chargebacks, but the chargeback ratio isn't the best. I'll just say that.
Well, there's a lot of things that we actually do specifically for the travel business. We built out our gateway, and everything is really catered to large travel enterprise clients because our biggest clients do about 5 to 6 billion a year in travel. So love to chat with you offline about that. Kyle, it's rare that I get an opportunity to talk to somebody in my business that understands all the components. And, it's funny because it's like, we're talking about all this stuff, running the treadmill and stuff like that. People just don't understand that, so it's refreshing to have that conversation.
That's another thing that I want to, just for anybody out there who's trying to build a business, or like,
Yeah.
uh, trying to build a team, or like, just has a startup, and like, don't do the mistake that I made, and have really high expectations for people that have the capabilities but don't have the commitment level, because
Totally.
you're gonna spin your tires trying to help people that aren't willing to step up to the plate at the level that you're stepping up to the plate. And if they want a part of what you're building, I think it's only the right thing for them to do. If they don't, well, then they can't expect to be a partner of a company or own equity. I mean, if they're not willing to put in what it takes, especially in the first 1 to 3 years, because
100%.
that's when it's a roller coaster, So Yeah, I mean, if anybody ever wants to get in touch with me, I mean, obviously the podcast is a great, should have my contact
How do
information.
they
But,
reach out for you? How do they reach out to you?
yeah, the best way to get to me is Kyle, Kyle, at Aspire. It's ASPIRE payments with an N on the end. I mean, an S on the end. .co.
Well, that's an
.co.
interesting way to spell.
So yeah, so yeah, I mean that's a great way to get hold of me. We're really looking at helping people grow businesses in all 50 states around the payment processing space, and I'd love to get to talk to you more about it. When you have time.
Absolutely, Kyle. It's been a pleasure. Great meeting you. You guys got a lot of exciting things down your funnel, and excited to see what happens with you guys in the future. And of course, want to talk to you offline about some opportunities that we can capitalize on together. So, if you want to get in touch with Kyle, you have the information here. Listen to it a few times. It's kind of the reality of the payment space and building a company. And it's been great getting to catch up and talk to you. So. I wish you all the best, Kyle, and look forward to communicating with you here in the future.
Thanks, man. Thanks for your time.
Beta2Boss with Chase Harmer. Growth, scale, success.